All right, y'all, Leland Live, Talk 99.5. We're back at it again. Blakely's Bouquets bringing you the show tonight. Blakelees. I spell that one too because it's two names. They put two names together, Blake and Lee, and they named Blakely's Bouquets. Now, if you're a flower person and you just like to be involved and you got something custom coming up, I guess Easter, is the next big sort of flower holiday. You got your family coming over, you want a pretty centerpiece. They'll work directly with you and get it exactly like you want it. Otherwise, if it's just gift giving and the flowers that we do year to year and time to time, they've got such a great website that easily displays all the previously designed arrangements. You just go in there and pick what looks good to you, get your message in there, pay them online, and it's gone. It's delivered. They text you. It's so easy. And you're just working with the best people. Don't you want to do business with good folks? Once you work with them, you'll love these folks over at Blakely's. They're talented. The prices are fair. Their delivery is impeccable. And I just love having a good florist on standby. You never know when you're going to need to send some flowers. When's the last time you sent flowers? Think about that. We should be doing that every now and then. Loving on people. BlakeLeesBouquets.com. BlakeLees. BlakeLeesBouquets.com. I'm going to get back to these calls, but let me talk about Congress for a minute. I think the House is about to vote on reopening the Homeland Security Department. I believe it has passed, if I'm not mistaken. They have passed their version of it. The Senate has voted it down. It stuns me that Schumer, who looked like an absolute fool in the last shutdown, he got nothing. His party paid a huge price for it, and he's doing it again in a time of crisis, as if they want something to go wrong here at home with a terror attack or some kind of incident. I guess they're not calculating they may share some blame in that. I guess their calculation is one of these people they let in the country in the last 5 or 6 years under Biden blows something up, then Trump will wind up getting the blame for it because of the situation in Iran. And with the mainstream media, he might. But these people are the most cynical people. We are in harm's way by a situation in the world that partially they're responsible for with their border policy. And we're vulnerable right now, and they keep pushing this defund thing. They keep losing the optics on it, but they keep doing it. I guess it's all they got. And I think part of it, I got to be honest with you, I think part of it is they're afraid of their own base. They're afraid of the nut jobs that are their hardcore party supporters. And so there they are. All right. One more thing about Congress. They took a vote, and I've been on Nancy Mace's case lately because she's a bit of a showboat herself. By the way, Kristi Noem got fired for being a showboat. That's the bottom line. She gave a friendly contract to do a $220 million ad campaign featuring her to a business that wasn't really a business that was set up for the last 11 days. And then they hand them I think the initial payment was $143 million to produce an ad of her sitting on a horse with her hair extensions and her makeup and her new lips. Are you serious? She got to be doing too much of that stuff. These are serious times. They fired her today, replaced her with Mark Wayne Mullen, and he's a very serious guy. I didn't know he was an undefeated MMA fighter, but anyway, there he is. All right, so we got all that. But last night, Nancy Mace pushed a bill to open up the files on Congress. You know, they've had this slush fund that we discovered years ago, where they've been paying off people that come with sexual harassment claims against elected officials and their staffs over the last several years. And those files are secret. We don't know what the accusations are, the money that's been paid out. So Mace pushed a bill that got a vote to force the Congress to vote on that. Only 60, I think it was 64 Congress people voted for it. That they say there's no bipartisanship in Washington. And until you start to expose their dirty laundry that they paid for, these kind of these people ran around pounding on the walls for the Epstein files to be released, and they don't want to release this. The irony's thick. Y'all get that. And now, just as soon as I was about to go to Dan, I look up and Pete Hegseth is doing an update on our war in Iran. This is important. We're going to carve out some time for it. Here is the Secretary of Defense from Tampa, Florida at CENTCOM. AJ?
At Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission. We remember them. But we remember them by rededicating ourselves even more fervently to this mission. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper, if you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that we'll be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces. And we have no shortage of authorities. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past were the opposite of what we're doing here. They had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more. Our authorities, his authorities, CENTCOM's authorities through the president and myself are maxed out. Our capabilities are overwhelming and gathering still, as are those of our Israeli partners. Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad, which means our timeline is ours and ours alone to control. As long as it takes to ensure the United States of America achieves these objectives. And as we flow more forces, and as we flow more capabilities, and as our munitions, as we're flying over the top, have even more devastating effects, we set the tempo, we set the timeline, led by the commander on the ground. Our ear is to the ground to listen to Admiral Cooper. What he needs and what he needs, he will get. We are built for this fight, and we are in it to win it. And we have the right commander in the lead. So I'll now hand it over to Admiral Brad Cooper to give you an update right here from CENTCOM. Admiral.
Mr. Secretary, first, thank you very much and good afternoon and welcome to U.S. Central Command Headquarters, America's Warfighting Headquarters. It's great to be here alongside the Secretary and representing the more than 50,000 men and women in uniform currently executing Operation Epic Fury. So, Mr. Secretary, first, thank you very much for your leadership and support and the very clear vision and objectives that you've given us to allow us to use overwhelming force against the Iranian terrorist regime. And thanks to all of you for attending today and welcome to Tampa. We are now starting our 6th day of a historic mission to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans. We are, if I could channel my inner Navy officer, we are at full speed ahead in executing orders given by leadership in Washington. The President and Secretary Hegseth have been crystal clear in their expectations, and we are at a high level of execution. As described by the Secretary and earlier this week by me, U.S. combat power is building as Iranian combat power declines. Our air dominance allows us to hit Iran's center of gravity with overwhelming power and reach. A couple of examples. In just the last 72 hours, America's bomber force has struck nearly 200 targets deep inside of Iran, including around Tehran. And in just the last hour, U.S. B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers. Notably, we've also struck Iran's equivalent of Space Command, which degrades their ability to threaten Americans. Then, if I just look back over the last 24 hours of the operation compared to where we were at its start, ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90% since day one. Drone attacks have decreased by 83% since day one. Having said this, we remain vigilant. Our strikes against the Iranian Navy have intensified. You may have heard the president say just a little while ago that we have sunk or destroyed 24 ships. That was true at the moment. We're now up over 30 ships. And in just the last few hours, we hit an Iranian drone carrier ship, roughly the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. And as we speak, it's on fire. The president gave us another task: to raise or level Iran's ballistic missile industrial base. So we're not just hitting what they have, we're destroying their ability to rebuild. And so as we transition to the next phase of this operation, we will systemically dismantle Iran's missile production capability for the future, and that's absolutely in progress. This is going to take some time, but our forces are well supplied, as the Secretary said, and we are absolutely ready to prosecute this mission decisively. Our combined joint forces have relentlessly destroyed Iran's air defenses over the past few days, and they've continued hunting for more systems to kill. Our air defenders are operating at the very top of their game. I couldn't be prouder, shoulder to shoulder with our partners in the region, in many cases, providing the most integrated air defense network in Middle East history. We are fighting to win. Through combined U.S. and Israeli combat power, we will continue decimating Iran's ability to project power outside its borders. And if I can just conclude by saying a strong salute to the brave men and women who are out on the pointy edge of this, really doing exceptional work. I just couldn't be prouder, and I know the American people share in that same pride. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll take a few questions. Yeah, right here.
Sir, appreciate it. Admiral, I wanted to ask, Mr. Secretary, the Ukrainian president said today that the U.S. has asked for specific capabilities to do Shahed drones, Iranian drones. And you guys talked about what you asked for. And has there been any surprises from Iranian capabilities that you guys have seen in the past 6 days?
We're very familiar with Iranian's capabilities, and as you might imagine, we planned for it right from the outset, and I feel good about what the plan was. Like any good organization, we adjust as necessary to meet the environment, and we've made those appropriate adjustments.
Absolutely. Right here.
One, was an American pilot shot down today in Iraq? And two, I've heard reports that there's enriched uranium stored in Isfahan. I've also heard reports that there's not a lot of bombing there. Is that on purpose? Do we believe there's enriched uranium there? And would we ever send special forces to secure it?
As CENTCOM pointed out, that those reports of an F-15 being shot down are false. As you can imagine, Iran is doing everything it can to peddle in lies, deception, and inflation of numbers in reality, mostly to propagandize to their own people. Right? They've shut down the internet. They're hoping they can convince their own population that they're having success. One thing one of their leaders said recently is that 500 Americans have been killed, they claim. These are lies. The lies will continue. CENTCOM will continue to debunk those lies. So, and as often is the case in conflict, first reports are often wrong. As it pertains to nuclear material and things like that, one of the objectives the president has always said is that Iran will not have a nuclear bomb, nuclear capabilities, but we would never disclose what we will or will not do inside operational plans. So Admiral Cooper's got a plan. We're working that plan, and targets will be struck or not struck according to what we want to achieve. Yeah, right there.
Secretary Hegseth, the president said earlier today in an interview that he would like to have a say in who's the next leader of Iran. Is this an expansion of your military objectives? Do you view it that way? And additionally, you spoke earlier today about how previous leaders have drawn resources from our hemisphere to the Middle East. How do you avoid that?
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran, given the ongoing operation we have. So there's no expansion in our objectives. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. I think today's a great example of what this War Department is capable of doing. I was just in another part of Florida today where we announced, America's counter cartel conference. 18 countries coming together from Central, South America, and the Caribbean, coming together to fight cartels. That is something that is ongoing. We're focused there. We're focused in the Indo-Pacific. We can mass combat power in CENTCOM. EUCOM is able to support that as well. So we know we're laser focused on our hemisphere and our homeland. That's why we locked down the border. That's why we're working with partners to take on cartels. That's why we're sinking drug boats. That's why we're on the offense there. But the beautiful things about combatant commands is that, Brad Cooper's laser focused on Central Command, just like Frank Donovan is laser focused on Southern Command. We can do both. That's what a global power can do. Ultimately, this issue of Iran's nuclear pursuit and their unwillingness through negotiations to stop it is something President Trump has said for a long time needs to be dealt with. And after 47 years, he's doing something that no other president was willing to do. And we're doing it overwhelmingly, and we're doing it decisively, while also in other parts of the globe having the desired effects. I mean, take, for example, what we displayed yesterday, the Iranian ship in the Indian Ocean, sunk by Indo-PACOM, another combatant command who coordinated with us in order to make that happen. So America's reach is global. Our focus here, though, these missions are narrow, they're scoped, and Admiral Cooper is well on his way to ensuring that we reach those objectives. Right here, yes, sir.
Harold, hope you indulges your troops building. The Ukrainians are talking about providing low-cost interceptors, given their experience. Is that something that the Pentagon is looking for? And Robert Cooper, can you walk us through a little bit about how effective the Lucas drones have been, what kind of targets they've hit, and how much that's helped, given that they're low-cost alternatives to the more expensive human?
Sure. I'm not familiar with the particular offer, but the interceptors in general, we've had a number of new capabilities being fielded. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it from an operational perspective of what those are. But I think you have seen over a period of time us kind of get on the other side of this cost curve on drones in general. If I just walk back a couple of years, you remember what you used to always hear? We're shooting down a $50,000 drone with a $2 million missile. These days, we're spending a lot of time shooting down $100,000 drones with $10,000 weapons from ours. So that's one aspect of it. Lucas, indispensable. As many of you know, and if you don't know, this was an original Iranian drone design. We captured it, pulled the guts out, sent it back to America, put a little Made America on it, brought it back here, and we're shooting them at the Iranians. Good targets.
Good targets. Absolutely. Right there.
Thank you so much, Secretary. President Trump, in his first speech after the launch of the Operation Epic Fury, he addressed Iranian people and he said that there is going to be a time for you to come out, but it's not now. Stay home. It's not safe. I want to know if there is a timeline for that you're going to urge Iranian people to come out, how that is going to play out, and how are you going to protect the protesters? You know that they're going to be shot probably, as we witnessed in January. That's what happened. How are you going to protect and support the protesters? And Admiral, I have one question for you. How are you going to minimize the civilian harm? We have a lot of evidence that the Basij units, IRGC commanders, they are now gathering in schools, in hospitals, in purely residential areas because their headquarters are bombarded, they are ruined, of course. So how are you going to protect the civilians while you're attacking the IRGC people hard? Thank you.
I would just say on the protests, obviously the Iranian people showed a lot of courage in those protests, and we saw the Iranian regime was revealed for what it is in the way they reacted to that. The world saw that. No one's done more than President Trump to reopen the opportunity for those who want a free Iran to do so. Ultimately, it's common sense, as he said up front. Don't go out and protest while bombs are dropping inside Tehran and elsewhere. So there will come a moment where he determines, or they determine, that it's the time to seize that advantage. But there's a lot of things we're doing and the Israeli military is doing, targeting those individuals who are targeting those who protest. The more you do that and you erode their will and you erode their capabilities, the more you create an opportunity for people to boldly stand up.
Yeah, I would just reinforce the point. We're targeting the people. We're targeting the headquarters and the people who are targeting the protesters, first and foremost. I'd also just double down on the president's comments that he previously made to the people. Stay in your homes, keep things calm, stay out of the way. There's a lot of U.S. and Israeli capacity coming over. We're hitting a lot of targets. The best thing for them to do for right now is just to lay low.
Right here.
One common outcome of American military action in the past has been taking in thousands of refugees into the American homeland, and I'm wondering if there's any safeguards put in place to make sure that the American people aren't having to have another wave of refugees from the Middle East or anywhere else come and stay here.
I think it's safe to say there's no plan for a wave of new Middle Eastern refugees to the United States of America. I think, as the president has pointed out for a long time, there are a lot of countries in the region who would be capable of providing that kind of support if need be, but that's certainly not something we're planning on. Yeah, back to you.
Yes, sir. Michael in Washington Times. I wanted to ask, I know, Semper Gumby is always a truism in the military. Did the British decision to refuse Diego Garcia have any impact on the mission itself? Did you have to adjust, or were you able to just completely, go with the mission without even worrying about that?
Well, as the president stated, it was unfortunate that that the Brits didn't, from day one, say, "Hey, go ahead and have access," but we got there. we got there, and that's now part of the way that we're operationalizing bomber runs. And as part of when we say more to come, it's more fighter squadrons, it's more capabilities, it's more defensive capabilities, and it's more bomber pulses more frequently. The amount of firepower over Iran and over Tehran is about to surge dramatically. And part of it is that we're going to have even more basing. And it's not just the UK. We've had other friends step up, and we're grateful for that. Maybe one more right here.
Yeah, the Azeri president earlier today basically authorized his Minister of Defense to begin preparing troops for some type of retaliatory action after the airport strike. As the Department of War and CENTCOM been working on deconflicting with the Azeri if they were to move in or attempt something in retaliation?
I'm sure there are plans, and I'll let the Admiral speak to that. But that does allow me to kind of address this idea that the war might be expanding or there's chaos, and nothing could be further from the truth. If anything, what Iran is doing by targeting allied countries that would otherwise want to stay out of this, they've actually pulled them into the American orbit. So now you've got UAE and Qatar and Bahrain and Saudi and Kuwait and others saying, hey, we're with you. We'll shoot with you. We'll fly with you. We'll defend with you. We'll allow you more basing and other opportunities, a lot of which, we can't talk about and won't talk about. But it's actually firming up the unity of the resistance in order to focus exactly where we need to. So this idea that it's expanding or going, no, it's actually simplifying in a number of ways exactly what we need to achieve and how we'll achieve it. I don't know if you want to add to that.
I won't get ahead of policy in terms of what we might do. What I will point out is this is now the 12th country that Iran has attacked. 12 countries, and it goes right back to the Secretary's point. Those 12 countries are none too happy. And I look forward to working with all the partners who are willing to join us in this.
And I would just close by saying,
Mr. Secretary, one more question. What is your message to Americans who are concerned about security here at home with the change up that we're going to see at the Department of Homeland Security?
Well, I think Kristi Noem did an excellent job over there securing our border and keeping us focused on threats, and the President making a change. We all serve at the pleasure of the President. I'm sure Mark Wayne Mullen will do a fantastic job. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. But Kristi did a great job setting us up for success. So I don't have any concerns about whether or not the homeland will be covered down on. And I'll just end by saying I wish every American could get a chance to see what we see. I had a chance to go into the control room, into the Tactical Operations Center, go see these young men and women that are doing this, the dedication that they show at every level, the way they've refined their craft. Now, I'm talking to a young colonel who's iterating on how we target and how we find and fix different aspects of what the Iranians are trying to do. If they don't know what they're up against, and if they think they've got it solved for, they're wrong. And ultimately, the combination of our ingenuity, the skill, the professionalism, the discipline, and then the sheer weight of the capabilities of the U.S. military, what you're going to see may look routine. It might start to be like, oh, another boat. Oh, another launcher. Oh, another drone facility. What it takes to do this with the precision that we do is world-class. No one else can do it. And it's world-class Americans. Like the ones I saw here, like the ones that are coming home that we're going to greet home, that are the engine of what makes our country great. And so I'm so grateful for folks like those here at CENTCOM and Central Command who are under your command. Thank you for your decisive leadership. And all I'll say to you is what I say to them, keep going. Because the President and myself, we have your back. Thank you, Admiral. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Thank you all.
Mr. Secretary, how is this operation going to ensure
All right, so a very clear and succinct and upbeat from CENTCOM, from Pete Hegseth, and of course, all of the military officials that just gave that briefing. I'll review some of that here in just a minute. I know, AJ, we got a break to catch up on. All I'll say is this: just a few months ago, less than a year ago, we had men walking around the Pentagon in pencil skirts telling other grown men what to do. The world has changed. Everything has changed with our strength and projection of power. It's a whiplash. It's the quickest thing I've seen in my lifetime. More to come. Headlines when we get them. It's been a crazy busy news day. Lead on Live, Talk 99.5. Y'all, let's do that break, and we'll come right back. Y'all hang in there. 545-9950 if you want to get on the show. Lead on Live. Man, let's get back after it. It's 4:38. We had a little long break there. Had to compress some things to be able to get the Hegseth update in here. Work Truck's bringing you the show tonight. TRUX. You got to put that X in there if you're going to go online. The cool thing to do is just to go downtown. If you know what kind of truck you need a business truck, commercial-based truck, strip down, get it done, hard-working truck. They're down at Work Trucks. Low miles because they get them on the aftermarket. They go through everything on those trucks. I say it all the time. They go through 125 points. I'm not sure I could think of 25 things to check, but they check them out, the whole truck, and then they put them on the lot. So it's everything in business, box trucks and all kinds of vans, passenger and cargo, every kind of pickup imaginable, from a plain old just straight shop truck to run around town in, or of course outfitted with all the configurations, and then things I don't even know what you call them. You know, the vans with the tool bodies on them, with the service bodies, all those things. They've got them all over the place. Downtown Birmingham, 3rd Avenue South, Work Trucks. Y'all go see Bubba and the team. Keep your business moving this year, saving some money with financing, with extended warranties. It's Work Trucks, TRUX, WorkTrucksLLC.com. All right, let's go. I'll tell you what, let me review a little bit of Hegseth. Again, a lot of false information. I started the show with this today. The Iranian propaganda to keep their people believing that they're not losing. Once the image of the mullahs are gone, the government's gone, they're losing the fight. They worry about defection, so they're propagandizing their people. That propaganda hits the internet, and then it goes all over the world, and somebody at Act Blue puts it out like it's fact because the Democrats are pulling for us to lose a war. Let me repeat that. They want us to have setbacks. They need a headline. They want this mission to fail. That means our troops have to die or be hurt or harmed and fail in a situation where we clearly have the superior hand. It's an amazing time to be alive, but so far so good with the effort those warfighters at the Pentagon are putting up. Just an impressive group of people. Anything else on that? We'll get it to you. It's been a lot of headlines today, stuff I haven't even had a chance to get to, but I want to be fair to the callers, and we got a couple holding. Let's go. We'll try Jonathan first on line 2, and then we'll get some of y'all in here too if you want to get in. 545-9950. Jonathan, what's on your mind tonight?
Hey, man, how we doing?
Doing well, buddy.
I listen to you every day riding home and listen to your podcast. I just got a few words to say, okay? I'm retired military. Did 20 years in the military. I did 4 years in the Navy. Right out of high school, I joined the Navy. At 21, I was launching fighters off of USS Enterprise. My brothers were there. They know about Praying Mantis. Anybody that knows anything about Operation Praying Mantis, look it up. If you don't know, Google it. It was a real thing. We were dealing with Iran. We were escorting tankers through the Straits of Hormuz. Again, same thing all over again. I opened up Newsmax yesterday, and first post I saw was, guess what? We're fixing to start escorting tankers again. Why are we doing this?
Exactly.
Why are we doing this? That's the question. Why are we doing this? We could have dealt with them a long time ago. My theory is a lot of people are making a lot of money off of wars, you know, a lot of warmongers. And I don't understand why they don't care about this country. They don't care about its people. This president cares about us, and he's taking care of us. He's doing what he's got to do. If people would just go about their lives, put trust, have faith in God, and have faith in your country and your president. That's the biggest thing right there. Have faith, you know. He's going to take care of us. And that's the way I feel, you know. I got other issues I'm dealing with. I got a brother I lost 3 years ago, murdered. Dealing with that. She still walks free. He was a cop in Jefferson County, a good guy. Dealing with that. I had a passport last year. I bought last year. I was going to leave this country if Trump was not elected at that last election.
Where were you going to go?
3 times.
I always wondered that. Where'd you want to go?
I don't know. I've been to 25 countries already.
Yeah.
There's other places out there to go, you know.
Yeah,
and that's
no
what
doubt.
I don't understand. These people got 3 more years to be miserable. If they don't like it, they might as well just pack up and go. You know?
No, they're not going anywhere.
To go. There's other good places, but this is the brightest star out there. There's no other place like America, you know.
Yep.
So people that grew up with me know me by Shane. My family we grew up in Bessemer. I have 1 brother, no sisters. And the military called me Jonathan, so I go by Jonathan, you know. Thank you, Leland. Thank you for what you do.
Bro.
We appreciate it, okay? Keep it up.
Thanks, man. Since you told AJ Jonathan, I'm going to call you Jonathan then. Yeah, he goes back to the straight. Let me get Randy's call. I'm going to go back through my Lloyds of London thing. That was just eye-opening for me to learn that. And I feel like I want to tell the we have a lot of folks that come and go over 4 hours from the show, and I'm going to talk to the late audience about that. But let me get Randy in here real quick. Randy, what's up, buddy? AJ, is Randy still there?
Keystone Pipeline.
Say what now?
Hello?
Randy, go, man.
Have you heard anything about the Keystone Pipeline?
The Keystone. No, I have not heard anything new on it. It's still ongoing. The Canadians are causing us fits.
Well, they need to, Donald Trump needs to do something, and so we can get some oil down here.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Our oil one, because we got plenty of it.
There's no doubt about it. Randy, I appreciate you, buddy. I don't want to get too distracted with Keystone. We went through that the other day. The Lloyd's of London thing is utter history that tells me how many layers are at motion here, that if you look at what's happening, especially right now with Iran, we're only getting sort of a surface understanding for the most part. People making stupid comparisons to Iraq and Afghanistan. That's not even the same declared mission. They're not the same threat. It's completely different countries. I know it's the same region. But one of the things about Iran that's always given them a choke point on the world is the Strait of Hormuz. And if you need to look it up. If you don't know the geography, go look it up tonight. You'll see that there's a bend in the waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman. And it's really that choke point and the ability to get that oil, particularly out of Kuwait. We went into Iraq twice, and it originally started because Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait and was trying to control the flow of oil. So we've seen fights over this strait, and he pointed to Praying Mantis. That was back in the late 80s when we had to escort those tankers. Iran has always used its geographical proximity to the strait. If you're watching on the feed, Iran kind of curves right over the top of this curve in the waterway. And there's a 33-mile choke point for 20% of the world's oil. And what we now know is 50% of China's oil. Now follow me here, because this is fascinating. So I watched an analyst this morning. It was this video presented by sort of a think tank that's they're experts on energy and geopolitics. And the headline or the premise of the thing was that the move Trump made against Lloyd's of London changed 300 years of history in 24 hours that may free the world of this choke point in a number of ways. And let me see if I can put it in plain English and do it quickly, because we got another break coming. Lloyd's of London has been around since King George, 300 years. The king himself laid the cornerstone of this basically insurance company. And for 300 years, they've been the main insurance company. There are 6 others that are involved right now in the strait that will ensure the passage of ships through this choke point. Now, this choke point's always been a vulnerability for all of the world. Somebody yesterday, and then I heard this analyst also call it this, they say this little spot on planet Earth is the jugular of planet Earth when it comes to the flow of oil. You stop it, you can almost stop the world from turning, not physically, but you know what I mean. It throws everything into chaos. And before we go any further, just know without the flow of oil, every one of us starve to death within weeks, period. Nothing moves. Everything needs it. Everything in our lives, we're an oil-based economy in the whole world. No mouse farts and unicorn dreams are ever going to replace that. So we have to have it. The world has to have it. It's life or death. It is. It's not an exaggeration. You can't eat without it, because most of you don't grow your own food anyway. So this jugular point is always a strength for the Iranians, because they'll jump out there and try to block ships or harass ships, which increases the liability payments or the premium payments that other shippers all over the world, the Chinese, us, others that go through that strait, you got to go pay Lloyd's of London. So Lloyd's of London is like a bouncer. The Iranians are the threat. Lloyd's of London profits from it. You'll be able to make the calculation here like I did when I watched this today. So they're based obviously in the UK, Lloyd's of London, 300-year-old company. And for 300 years, they've been the dominant gatekeeper of who gets to go through the canal. It's not even the Iranians all the time. In other words, the Iranians are the threat. They claim to be the saviors. They'll guarantee the shipments or, put a coverage on the liability, makes it business plausible to go through there. And that's how the world has worked for 3 centuries. Our country is only 250 years old. So when the United Kingdom refused to let us use some of their assets, and you heard them in the news conference talk about Diego Garcia and some of the other logistical, when Keir Starmer made the foolish mistake to buck a NATO ally in a moment like this, Trump made a move. And his move was not just to keep the flow of oil going. What he did was he used, I think it's called the Corporation for Business Development. It's a big federal piggy bank that Trump controls, any president controls. And he said, they did this, it seemed like overnight, but his team had to have this ready to go. They said, I tell you what, we're going to turn that into an insurance company for the shippers. And for modest premiums, we're not doing it for free. We'll take the payments Lloyd's of London has said they're not going to make. All the ships in that lane stopped. The oil price went up $10 a barrel. Wall Street got nervous, and it's still not completely worked out. The flow's still not happening. But Trump said, you don't need Lloyd's of London. We'll provide the coverage. And we'll give you a Navy escort. We'll fly planes and guard your ships. That took Lloyd's of London and their game that they played for 300 years off the table, like instantly. I don't think it's going to do the company in, but a huge source of the revenue they get comes from their presence and what they do in the strait, in that choke point. And they've done it for all these years. Before oil, they were guarding other cargo and guaranteeing other cargo. And that has sent the British into a tailspin. Keir Starmer had the short-sightedness to be fearful of his own Muslim population, not knowing how his people would react. They're anti-Western anyway. But then this one company that's is bigger in some ways than Keir Starmer in a lot of ways, just got neutered by a plan that the Trump administration had ready to go. If they pulled anything, they pulled it. I think the Trump administration calculated on them doing that. And now guess who controls with this plan? Guess who is in charge? Guess who's now the big daddy fuzzy nuts in the Strait of Hormuz? That'd be the USA. That'd be Uncle Sam, not Lloyd's of London. The British basically abdicated their own profiteering business that they have themselves used to play Middle East tensions for profit and took them out of the game. What made me want to go back through that is the previous caller talking about people making money off of it, and they do. It's a money nexus. But Trump just took out the money-making players, and the United States of America can now not only guarantee those flows and protect that strait, we've taken the Iranians away from the threat vector, so the mullahs and the crazy people are all dead. Slowly, that is going to fall apart, and that country may descend into chaos. It may find peace like we've never seen in the region. But for the moment, we're in charge. And guess who that hurts? That kills the Chinese. That's 50% of their flow. They now got to come to us. They've been trying to make moves on the world stage to get away from the U.S. dollar and try to buy oil through other deals and currencies. Guess what they got to do now? They better find some George Washingtons and some big head Benjamins if they want to buy oil, because they got to buy it from the rest of the world now. Venezuela is cut off. The strait is now controlled by us militarily and financially. The Iranians are not at play at the moment. They're a little busy. It's just a masterstroke. Instead of us getting played by some British company that can decide when it wants to let ships in and when it wants to tell ships not to go through, like there's some kind of hall monitor in a high school, that whole thing changed. 300 years of that changed in 24 hours last week. And the energy markets and people that understand this and have known this forever saw it immediately. And it took morons like myself a little time to play catch up. I condensed it. What I read about it today was much more involved in detail, but that's my sort of good old boy version of it. Y'all, that's important. That there are so many other aspects of this. These people, these sort of thoughtless people that are running on emotion that are screaming, "Oh, it's a war for Israel." It's so much bigger than that little country. Now they're fighting like hell to defend themselves, and I don't blame them. They're going to benefit from peace down the road if Iran goes away. And that's all they're asking for is peace and the right to exist. But the rest of the world is affected by this in ways that are really hard to describe. All right, there's that. We'll go back to the phones in a minute. Alan and Company ready to sell you some stuff. I think Jessica popped by there today. She had a chain repaired. You know, even when you're not buying big, beautiful gifts for people or little beautiful gifts for people there, they are there to help you with all your maintenance. Sometimes you got to have your ring cleaned or have your prongs checked to make sure they're tight enough, or get a chain repaired, or sometimes you have missing stones, and they're so good at matching things up and making it look good again. And a lot of times these pieces are not super expensive, but they're sentimental and you want to hang on to them and take care of them. They'll do it for you at Allen and Company. Everything stays there in their vault. Allen does the work himself, gets it right back to you within a week. It's good work. Good family, the Thompsons. You'll love getting to know them. It's a little shop over in Vestavia right there on Highway 31, Allen and Company. Back here in just a minute. All right, y'all, Southern Skies Dermatology. It was nice to get checked up this week. We went by there Monday and got checked, and I did have some concerns. I'm always paying attention. It's my family history, and it turns out I'm good. I'm good to go, and that was a good feeling. I like the way when she was checking everything out, she goes, "I got some good news. That's nothing." Boy, that's good to hear. That gives you some peace. We all want to take care of ourselves, and getting these kind of checkups it's everything when it comes to preventive maintenance. When it comes to the C word, we need to all do preventive maintenance in a number of ways. Get the screenings and go sign up at Southern Skies Dermatology. This is all they do. This is their specialty. They are 100% focused on skin cancer, and they're really, really good at it. Great locations all over. It's southernskiesdermatology.com, southernskiesdermatology.com. Bart is up next. Let's go to that call. We'll see if we can get all that in before the top of the hour. Bart, what's going on?
Hey, Leland, I just listened to your explanation of what Trump did this morning with the Lloyd's of London thing.
Yeah.
I'm an insurance adjuster, and it's kind of interesting because the cargo or freight from ships and fire were basically how insurance got started. Does that make sense?
Yep.
They
would
insure something from Spain that was coming over or whatever. That's how and then you got into the big fires, and people in the community would pitch in to come together with fire departments or whatever. But basically, that's how insurance got started. You did a good job. I read that article earlier this morning before I got up, and I was like, damn, man, he just slapped him upside the head, and it makes sense. You know what? The move that he did. One other thing I wanted to add is what I read, and we may have read the same information, but from what I read, England was bringing in about $2 billion a year strictly on oil cargo insurance.
In that strait, particularly, because that's where that's a huge source of business. Hey, Bart, hang on if you don't mind. I know you got more to talk about, and we're just up against a hard break. We'll go to the phones. If y'all got more of the phone calls, bring them back in a minute.